Let's go to our baseball rival and talk about our downtown. No, not the Baby Bears, where our team is this weekend, but Cincinnati. Joining us via Google Hangout from Cincinnati, David Ginsburg with Downtown Cincinnati, Inc. David, can you hear me? Because I can't see you, but I'm trusting that you can hear me.
I can hear you fine, Casey.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you can hear me, then I trust you've heard the conversation so far. I'm curious, anything resonating, anything familiar?
These are so many of the same conversations we have here in Cincinnati. I can tell you that when we first got this revitalization work started in the late 90s, downtown meant the central business district. It was basically an office market, rolled up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock. Safety was the big problem. The perception of safety was a big problem. Whether we would have residential or retail or office, what was going to lead the revitalization? These were all the questions that we were asking. Now we're asking the question, what is downtown? Is it Center City? Is it the neighborhoods that are just adjacent to downtown? We are a mixed use. Retail, Convention and Visitors Bureau is very healthy. The office market continues to strengthen. Residential, a tremendous effort. The price of entry for all this, of course, has been safe and clean, and that's where we spend a good deal of our efforts here at Downtown Cincinnati Incorporated. And now, instead of a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 downtown, we're really looking at a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day downtown. I'm down here tonight. Of course, it's an hour later. The streets are teeming with people. There's a performing arts center across the street. That's busy. There at Fountain Square, there's salsa dancing out on the square. Lots of people out there. So it's a mixed use downtown.
So congratulations. It sounds like you solved all of your problems and you have the perfect downtown.
We had some very serious problems, and we've been very fortunate that the business community and the city and leadership have really lined up and worked very, very hard in a very, very coordinated way for a very, very long time. And for years, you didn't see too much progress, especially in terms of perceptions. We knew downtown was getting better, but we weren't seeing the perceptions changing. But it's a little bit of a flywheel type of effort that as it begins to just keep moving, all of a sudden, every day there's some kind of a new opening, there's a new project getting going. We have many of our Class B office buildings now coming back as residential. The riverfront is developing very, very nicely. Over the Rhine, the neighborhood just north of the Central Business District is developing, and that's thanks to the work. We have a catalytic economic development agency. The Cincinnati Center City Development Corporation has been very effective, especially in the Over the Rhine area. We've had property owners, corporations putting a lot of resources into it. Police are our #1 partner, so it's taken a lot of people in a coordinated effort.
Okay, so as Alex just said, he challenged the notion that there's anything holding us back, or that there's anything that we need to remove as a roadblock in downtown. But for the sake of this discussion, advise us. Can you be our coach here? What would you say you would advise St. Louis? And maybe what is your perception of the St. Louis downtown?
I think the toughest thing, our perception of the St. Louis downtown is that it must be very similar to what Cincinnati is. It's a river city, a big baseball town, roughly the same type of weather and latitude. So we see it as being very similar in many ways to Cincinnati, kind of a middle-sized American city. Certainly, we kind of set up something, a hierarchy of needs, where safe and clean is at the base of it. That the price of entry to any development is that people feel comfortable with the development. We have to tell the story of our downtown, of our center city, and get everybody on the same page doing that. So we've benchmarked a number of other cities to do that. And I think the advice that I would give to any city, is #1, be yourself. Every city is unique, different, has its own set of issues. But once you get focused on a strategy, it's a long-term commitment. You may have naysayers, you may have critics, you may sometimes get frustrated at the pace of progress. But if you leave it a little bit better every day than when you came in, I think you'll be amazed, and in a very short time, things begin to move very quickly.
Talk a little bit about how you perceived yourself, how Cincinnati perceived itself in the past, and maybe now how that's changed. We've talked here on the show before about just kind of the narrative that we talk about, that we tell ourselves, kind of our internal monologue as a city here in St. Louis. Do you deal with those issues?
One of the things that Cincinnati has learned to do much better, and our Chamber of Commerce has played a major role in this, is benchmarking other cities. So we've been to places like Charlotte, I've been to Milwaukee, we've been to Boston, we're going to Austin this year, went to Denver. And one of the things that we're always amazed with is that people seem to be on the same page in many of these cities, and they do have a narrative about what makes their city special, what makes it great. And so we've developed, it's called the Story Project. Again, it's something we're doing through our regional Chamber of Commerce here. We're working with companies like Procter & Gamble and Citizens. We've looked at what are sort of unique about Cincinnati and trying to get everyone on the same page to sort of tell elements of the same story. A good example is the concept of life-size heroes. Cincinnati, and I'd imagine St. Louis is probably very similar in this respect, is the kind of city where you can walk around downtown and find several people that you might otherwise just read about in the newspapers or see on television, and they're approachable, that you can talk to them.
Yeah.
People like the owner of the Reds or
Right.
Oscar Robertson. That's
David?
Life-Size Heroes is unique.
David, I'm sorry, that's good. I have to cut you off there, though, because we packed the show with good stuff just like yourself.
Okay,
Thank you for your time. One thing you're mentioning on Twitter we should point out is that in Cincinnati, both sides of the river are developed. In St. Louis, we have one side of the river that's clearly more developed than the other. David Ginsburg.